This is probably my most expensive watch, and I spent a lot of time thinking about how I was going to buy it. And in the end, I had several Russian paintings, and a friend of mine who was connected to, not the Russian mafia, but Russians' art collectors. I showed them the pictures and they bought them all, which more or less paid for the watch.
We know how you came into suiting, your first suit at 7, Don Eagle tweed, I believe.
It was, yeah, made by the local tailor in Bristol.
Lovely. But how did we get into watches? What was your sort of first watch and where did it run from there?
I think my first watch was bought as a Christmas present. I think it was a Tissot. I don't remember. Funny enough, I've lost it. But I've always been interested in watches, and when we started selling second-hand clothes, we used to go to the market and buy accessories as well. And we would buy, occasionally, we saw a nice watch, like a, I don't know, just a sort of typical flat case watches, gold case, simple watches, but probably from the 40s and 50s, and bought very cheaply. And we used to buy them thinking, oh, this would be great, you know, sell it on very quickly, have it restored, give them a guarantee. So you give them a guarantee, 6 months later they come back and say, the watch is not working. So you end up, in the end, making absolutely no money, because by the time you've got the watch repairer to fix it a couple of times, you've lost all your money.
We know.
We'll say our business model has been rumbled.
And funny enough, my birth father, his family were in the jewellery business. I believe my grandfather was a watchmaker, so maybe it's in the genes, who knows.
Maybe.
But I have to say that I'm no expert. I like watches. What goes on inside them, I have no idea.
Well, maybe we can help you with that today. Let's just go straight into it. Which watch are you wearing today? Because from what I can tell, it's a rather special one.
Yeah, this is Rolex Explorer 1963 that I inherited from my mother about 20 years ago.
Wow.
And it's the only Rolex I have. I like it because it's simple, it's straightforward, and it's not too big. And also because it's got a bracelet rather than a leather strap, means I can wear it with brown or black or grey or anything. So it's a really easy, and it's easy to wear. So this is a watch I probably wear most of the time. Yeah.
Well, we speak quite regularly about the Rolex Explorer being probably one of the most versatile watches that you can wear every day. They're strong, they're rugged, yet they're still elegant.
And it's also it's slightly under the radar.
Yes.
You know, only people who know.
Yeah.
But so it's not one that people are going to knock me over the head and
Yeah,
try and steal it from me. So it's, you know.
for sure.
Yeah.
I really like, with the older style of Explorers as well, it taps into a bit more what Rolex used to be a bit more well known for, and that was creating real utility watches, tool watches, and that has that DNA.
I do like that because I have quite a few, a couple of watches here which are military, and I like the whole military look of watches, the simplicity, the clean, simple dials you can read without my having to put my glasses on and things like that. Anything that's too fussy, I just can't be bothered.
That's fair enough. Where should we start with this great selection of watches you've brought today? Where would you like to take us first?
Let's go to this, because this we just sort of mentioned about my father and watches. This is a Bremont, and it was made to celebrate the D-type Jaguar. I'm not sure which anniversary.
Which you can see behind you.
There it is there.
Very cool.
I'm not sure what year they were celebrating, but it was.
I think it was the 40th anniversary.
Oh, 40th,
if I'm not mistaken. Don't hold me to that. I believe it was the 40th.
Oh, really cool rotor on the case back.
Yeah.
With the steering wheel type rotor.
Oh, okay.
And the collaborations that Bremont have done with Jaguar are some of their best watches, in my opinion. The limited editions that Bremont produce are spectacular, and this is one of them. It goes very well with my suit, actually.
Well, I bought it because my father's hobby was racing D-type Jaguars amongst a whole host of other cars.
Wow.
I hope that's a sentence my children
I didn't get the car, but at least I got the watch.
Yeah.
You know. And
there's still time yet for the car.
Yeah, so you know, it's a nice watch. I don't wear it a great deal, but it's
it seems
it's a nice story to it.
It seems a little bit larger than your usual.
Yeah,
a little bit more sporty. I'd say.
I have had larger watches, but I've sold them on. I had a large Panerai when they first became popular,
I think you mentioned you had an IWC as well, didn't you?
Yeah, the big pilot's watch. And I only bought it really because I liked the crown, and it was sort of interesting,
which nicely links to your
which
cufflinks.
prompted me to make these cufflinks, which are made by Deakin and Francis in Birmingham. They're made again about 20 years ago. I just like the idea that,
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Lovely.
And on IWC, which is probably a bit of a favourite of mine, I particularly like this one. This is the Mark 18.
Yes. So again, carries that military inspiration style that you quite like.
Even though I think officially they're not pilots' watches, are they?
The history, IWC did produce some military watches. They weren't part of the Dirty Dozen, but whether they were exactly pilots' watches.
Because I meant to bring with me today the Vertex watch, which was part of the Dirty Dozen. That's why I have it, because it's similar to this, but it's British, and it's the Dirty Dozen's a great story.
Absolutely.
But this, I've had the earlier ones as well, the 14 and the 15, but I've moved those on, and because I don't have too many.
Again, similar to your Explorer, a very clean, legible dial, and it carries a lot of them similar traits. Slightly larger, I believe that one's 34 and this one's 40. But I mean, it's on the NATO strap particularly. It's such a versatile piece.
Yeah.
I think it's quite interesting to see how the sort of staple of the IWC design carries through, really, when you look at those first pieces to what you see today. And it just stays consistent. Yeah. It works.
It's great. Functional watch.
Yes.
This one is another IWC, made for George Cleverley. And I went to the opening, to the event, the launch in Royal Arcade, and I saw it there and I thought, oh yeah, that's really nice. And the reason I bought it, more than anything, was not so much for the watch, for the very expensive Russia calf strap, which was like a NATO strap. And I thought, oh, that's nice. And but when I got the watch, I ordered it there. When it arrived, it was really, really brassy looking, and I was a little bit disappointed, so I didn't wear it for a while.
So you've quite enjoyed the patina that's gathered on the watch over time.
A couple of months later, I decided I looked at it again, and it had gone like this. I thought, that's brilliant, much nicer. I like the green background. And
it's what gives its independence.
Yeah,
the patina.
It's very nice.
It's beautiful.
I think there were 150 made, and I think there must be a movement back to smaller cases.
Fingers crossed. That's what we're hoping for, because we've been an advocate for small watches for quite some time, and we're starting to see the industry move in that direction, which is good.
And the funny thing is, trousers that were very narrow are now getting wider.
Yes.
So I wonder if there's a correlation between smaller watches and wider trousers. I don't know.
Maybe. Just put the skinny jeans in the bin and put the Hublots in the bin with them, and we'll go back to old styles.
Keeping on the IWC thing. This is the Portuguese.
Yes, 7-day power reserve. Fantastic watch.
Very elegant.
Yeah, but I found that the strap was a bit too, too luxury.
It's quite a thick strap.
I put a NATO strap on it to sort of deluxify it a bit, and make it less obvious, really. Well, I say less obvious, it's really striking. But it's nice. Again, it's simple, straightforward. It's a little bit bigger than I wear normally, but I'd wear it.
But again, still very clean, still very easy to read, still very legible.
So, here's the final. I think this is, no, it's not quite the final one. This is the Portofino.
Yes.
And I bought that on a whim, really, second-hand, through a friend, and I think he was having a hard time. So I bought it from him, and it's nice, it's simple. I don't wear it that much.
Double date window.
Yeah, grand date.
Up there, really nice.
Really nice.
The date's great, very easy to read.
Yeah, beautifully decorated movement as well. I think that's one thing about IWC that I've started to notice is the way that they decorate their movements. Same with the 7-day.
Yeah.
They're so well finished, they're absolutely beautiful. Are you attracted to the movements, or is it purely the style that calls out to you?
I know absolutely nothing about the movement. It's like with cars, I know nothing about the engine, carburetors, so I don't know anything about it.
You just know you look good in them.
I can talk about them, but I don't know anything about torque. I just go for the aesthetic. What appeals to me when I look at the watch, I think, yeah, that looks nice, or that's interesting. And if you're buying something like an IWC, you'll hoping that the quality is what is expected of them, you know.
I mean, you have quite a few IWCs in your collection. I believe you have a vintage one there
I do,
as well.
yeah. This I bought in the market. This is 1963. And I like the way that the way they put IWC on there.
The applied logo, yes.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah. I mean,
And it was in the days when they called themselves the International Watch Company. So it's, which I sort of liked. Which brings me on to this watch. And this is a Cartier tank that was originally steel.
Right.
That I bought at duty free, I don't know, a long time ago. Yeah. And I never wore it.
Right.
And then it struck me that, because the whole black case thing was going on, I thought, well, maybe I can get the case done. So I had the case done and the dial done. And I wore it to lunch one day with Laurent Fernier.
Ah.
He grabbed my hand, he said, what's that? And I explained it all to him and he took a photograph of it. Yeah, and I like it because it's a perfect watch to wear with a dinner jacket or white tie or any sort of extremely formal evening.
We love Cartier. I'm wearing a Cartier today, so this is the Tank Francais style.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, it's nice to have that, like I say, you can bespoke a watch and it's very, very unique to yourself now. There's only one of them out there, yeah.
I mean, I probably well, it wasn't that valuable in the first place, but I probably devalued it enormously. Everybody says once you interfere with things.
Yeah, there's an argument to be said, but if it's a watch that you're going to have for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't buy it as an investment, you know, I bought it because...
And it does make a nice black tie watch.
Yeah.
Just nice, neat, tucked away.
And I did have a gold version of this, but I had to sell it many years ago. Needed the cash.
Yeah, we've all been there.
And what else we got here? Oh, this is a watch this is my most expensive watch.
Yes.
And I spent a lot of time thinking about how I was going to buy it. And in the end, I had several Russian paintings, and a friend of mine who was connected to, not the Russian mafia, but Russians' art collectors. I showed them the pictures and they bought them all. Four pictures, which more or less paid for the watch.
Fantastic.
And they'd only been in the attic, so... and I just saw this in the window in Bond Street, and I thought it's great. I love the size, the case, and I particularly like the placement of the crown.
Yes.
And the funny thing is, they call it it was made for motorists or something.
The motorists adopted the watch, but I think you had some
it's,
views on that.
Well, I bought it under the assumption that it was, well, I liked the story. And I was in the car and I was trying to look at the watch, and you had to go sort of like this, sort of...
Swerving all over the place.
And it's a complete myth. But it's a lovely story.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously I know they do a rose gold version as well, but the fact that you've got the white gold version is particularly nice. It's very, very understated.
Yeah.
It's lovely. And I mean, the 4
It was also the base price. That had something to do with it.
But the thing is, you could probably wear this more. It's so much more understated. It's compared to the rose gold has a lot of wrist presence, or the pink gold, should we say, before we get sued.
Yeah. So what do you call it? Wrist presence.
Yes, wrist presence. It's very understated, elegant.
Nice.
Okay. What else have we got here? Have I done?
Can we talk about these ones? Because I believe these ones have some fantastic stories with them.
Should I just talk
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
This is white gold. This is a Panerai.
Yeah.
That I bought many years ago because we were part of the Vacheron group, and so I had access to discounts and things.
Yes.
And I bought this, and it's a Rademeyer, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, simple.
Yes.
And again, it's got a lovely crown, easy to wind.
And probably one of the most iconic models from Panerai. I mean, this is the watch that realistically put Panerai on the map.
And they very kindly gave me a Panerai watch clock.
Wow.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, it was really nice. Hangs in my kitchen. I don't know whether they make that anymore, that watch, do
they? They don't make this exact model. They do have a model. Yeah, there you go. But this is, what I really like about this compared to some of the other Rademers as well as the case size. Again, it's not overly large and it's white gold, of course.
Yeah,
very wearable. Now, an interesting thing Nigel said in our first episode of this series is he justifies not having the Vacheron because his Panerai has that cushion case shape and it's quite a similar style. Is that something you find, or could you not care less? Do you enjoy having them both, or do you wear your Vacheron more than your Panerai? Or?
I certainly wear my Vacheron more, yeah, definitely, because it's a little bit lighter as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Finally, from the very expensive to the inexpensive, I did a collaboration with Swatch. I think it was 2017, and it was the year of the dog in China, so they wanted some sort of dog reference to it. So I got the profile of my dogs, Harry and Muffin, which are Sussex Spaniels, and gave them the artwork, and they set this up, and I thought it came out brilliantly. Anyway, we made 1,983, which was the year Hackett started, and also the year that Swatch started. So it was a nice collaboration. And we had a little event in Regent Street, and the shop was absolutely mobbed. And I was getting these Swatch collectors coming up to me with the Swatch in its box saying, "Can you sign this?"
Oh, wow.
And then they go away and say, "Well, we're not going to open it, we're not going to touch it. Yes, just going to keep it."
Swatch collectors.
So maybe in 100 years' time they might be worth more than 150 quid, who knows? What I particularly like about this Swatch is that I had the H added to it as a keeper, and it comes from a range of belts we do, which we've done for years, and our best-selling belt is with the H keeper. And one other final point about these watches is that they all came with a brown strap, which is very nice. And so I went to Swatch and said, "Do you think you could make me one with a black strap? Because I'm very particular about wearing brown shoes with brown watch straps, and vice versa, black." And they made me this. So this is a one-off. So this one may be worth money one day. Who knows?
One of one.
Yeah. Oh, 1,893. They all sold out in 10 days. That was
Fantastic.
incredible. Yeah. And I was in the Swatch watch shop in Battersea Power Station, where we also have a shop. And the guy clocked my watch immediately. He said, "God, we could have sold loads more of those." So I'll do them again.
Yeah, there you go.
And speaking of H's, I've got this watch here. This is a collaboration I did a long time ago, maybe 2005, something like that, with Tag Heuer.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we did a sports one as well, which
The Caliber 16 chronograph. Now the reason why I know so much.
Now
the reason why I know so much about these, which may sound peculiar, is because my first ever job in the industry was working for Tag Heuer, and I've actually sold them watches before, so I have seen them before, so that's why it was quite nice.
Well, we couldn't do very much with it because it was a big company and it's too complicated to do anything. But what I asked was that they put the H, instead of the 12, they put the H.
Yeah.
And also the colours were cornflower blue, which is a favourite colour of mine. And we made 100 of these and 100 of the other sporty one. And again, those all went.
Yeah, they were very
really. It was a very nice watch. Again, I would wear this with a formal suit. Or...
Yes. Beautiful.
That H font and the numerals have got quite a preppy style about it.
Yeah.
I quite like that. It's a handsome thing.
And truthfully, I believe this sort of numeral style may have actually inspired Tag Heuer a little bit further down the line when they redid the Carrera again. So maybe you should be on the phone to them and asking for a retainer for style pumps.
They have brought out some nice watches recently.
Yeah. And this is number 100 of 100. You completed of the collection.
Yeah.
Well, Jeremy, a massive thank you for talking us through your beautiful watch collection. You've got fantastic taste, we have to say. And your knowledge is actually very good, so don't put yourself down.
I've learnt more from you guys today. Thank you.